जय यमुना तीरवनचारे जय कुंज विहारी जय यमुना तीरवनचारे जय कुंज विहारी Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai, Shri Shri Lakshmi Nasum Bhakta Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Yuvadharma Harinam Sankirtan Yajna ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane. And all glories to online devotees also. Not only assembled here, some assembled within camera also. No, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So today we will be discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 29 and verse number 84. Etan mukunda yasasa bhuvanam punanam Etan mukunda yasasa bhuvanam punanam Devarshivaryamukha nisru nisrutam atmasaucham Devarshivaryamukha nisrutam atmasaucham Devarshivaryamukha nisrutam atmasaucham Yakityamanam adhigacchati parameshthyam Yakityamanam adhigacchati parameshthyam Nasmin bhave bhramati mukta samasta bandhaha Nasmin bhave bhramati mukta samasta bandhaha Etan mukunda yashasa bhuvanam punanam Devarshivaryamukha nisrutam atmasaucham Yakityamanam adhigacchati parameshthyam Nasmin bhave bhramati mukta samasta bandhaha Etan mukunda yasya bhuvanam punanam Devarshivaryamukhan srutamatma saucham Yakityamanam adhigacchati parameshthyam Asmin bhave bhramati mukta samasta bandhaha Etan yasya Anapi adhigacchati parameshthyam अस्मिन् भवमस्तबन्धः एतन्मुकुन्दस्य भुवनं पुनानं देवर्षिवर्यमुखनिसृतम् आत्मशौचम् यः कीर्त्यमानमधिगच्छति पारमेष्ठ्यम् नास्मिन् भवे भ्रमति मुक्तसमस्तबन्धः. Any Matajis? एतन्मुकुन्दयस्य भुवनं पुनानं शिवर्यमुखनिसृतमात्मशौचम् यः कीर्त्यमानमधिगच्छति पारमेष्ठ्यम् नास्मिन् भवे भ्रमति मुक्तसमस्तबन्धः. एतत्, this narration, Mukunda Yashasa, Mukunda Yashasa, with the fame of Lord Krishna, Bhuvanam, this material world, Punanam, sanctifying, Devarshi, of the great sages, Varya, of the chief, Mukha, from the mouth, Kirtyamanam, Nisrutam, uttered, Atma Saucham, purifying the heart, Ya, anyone who, Kirtyamanam, being chanted, Adhigachati, goes back, Parameshtyam, to the spiritual world, Na, never, Asmin, in this, Bhave, material world, Brahmati, wanders, Mukta, being liberated, Samasta, from all, Bandaha, bondage. Translation by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. This narration spoken by the great sage Narada is full of the transcendental fame of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, this narration, when described, certainly sanctifies this material world. It purifies the heart of the living entity and helps him attain his spiritual identity. One who relates this transcendental narration will be liberated. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Marani ki jai. One who relates this transcendental narration will be liberated from all material bondage and will no longer have to wander within this material world. Please repeat. This narration, spoken by the great sage Narada, is full of the transcendental fame of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, this narration, when described, certainly sanctifies this material world. It purifies the heart of the living entity and helps him attain his spiritual identity. One who relates this transcendental narration will be liberated from all bondage and will no longer have to wander within this material world. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. So many nice blessings are there in this translation. In this translation, let us unpack the gift wrapper. What are the blessings in this translation? First one is the narration. So far, whatever happened about King Prachina Barhi, and is volume audible properly for everyone? Okay. So the narration was spoken by Narada Muni directly and to Prachina Barhi, and the details they have spoken or conversed are related to how we will suffer in this material world by different agents. One of the agent is time, with which as time progresses in the form of maybe either diseases or in the form of old age and etc., definitely suffering will be there. So that's a one time is a one agent, and another agent is karma. So because of karma means doing bad activities, and the result will come back, and by those results a living being will suffer. So like that, there are different ways how living entity will suffer and how to get out of that. That's what Narada Muni described. So in other words, when we understand them and by turning towards the Supreme Lord who is out of time influence. Lord Krishna is out of time influence. So Krishna is, in other words, Krishna doesn't become old. That's what it means. He is out of time influence. Time cannot act upon him. In fact, this is one of the definition. Who is outside the time zone? That person is God. Yes, time can never touch him. One time, during Srila Prabhupada's time, Srila Prabhupada asked one painter to draw lifting Govardhana mountain, for his books. So then the person agreed, the devotee agreed, and then he took some days and he painted and then brought it back to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada observed that and then he just started laughing. Because the person painted that Krishna with so many muscles, like a bodybuilder, 6-pack body or 8-pack body, I don't know, whatever packs body, and then like a weightlifter. And then he showed that Krishna lifted mountain. And Prabhupada laughed. Don't think Krishna has to do exercises to lift mountain. God doesn't need to do any exercises, to do any activities. He doesn't have to practice anything, any activity, because he is already perfect. He is always perfect, either in past or in future or present. He is always perfect. It is we have to practice. It is we cannot lift certain, if weight crosses certain limit. But God is not like that. It is we are under the influence of time. God is not that. So then what happens with this understanding, when we turn towards Krishna, then we will start associating with Him. So then we will also be like that outside of the time zone. Yes, suppose you have some boss in your workplaces, right? You have bosses. Now, can we interact with him by thinking differently than him? Can we interact? No, it's not possible. Like disparity is too much. Then boss will say, you're out of zone. Just get out of my cabin. You're outside the zone. Similarly, when we try to associate with Krishna, it means we are trying to enter within the zone of his relation. So we gain those qualities of Krishna with which we will begin interacting with Krishna. That's how the process works. All the devotion works. All devotional activities work in that way. It may be chanting, it may be worshipping deities, it may be reading Srimad Bhagavatam, it may be hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. All devotional activities work like that. That is why, it's a gift. When we go back to the conversation between Narada Muni and Prashina Barhi, the gift that we will get is we will come out of the suffering slowly. That's the one gift. And another one is it sanctifies this material world. In translation, it was said. Sanctification means what? Suppose there are some dirty marks and water is the agent to clean that. So water sanctifies, meaning purifies. It makes clean. Water, it's an agent of purification. So like that, there are many agents of purification in material world. What are other agents of purification? Our parents are, a typical religious parents we are talking about, not a fallen parents who have all kinds of bad habits. We are not talking about them, but a typical Vedic family. Parents are agents. Parents for our purification. They say this is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad. So parents are agents of purification to some extent. Just like water also is agent to some extent. We cannot purify everything by water. Yes? Like that. There are certain limitations of their agency. And similarly, teachers are to some level. And devotees, definitely higher level. They are agents of purification. And gurus, definitely they are, you can say, topmost level of agents to purify the world. And Krishna is Parama. He's called Supreme Sanctifier. What does it mean, sanctification? Sanctification means eliminating the unnecessary or unwanted things. Like the dirty marks. We don't want that. So we eliminate that. That's called sanctification. Now, if we come to the other agents, what is that they sanctify within us? Like we discussed, right? Parents, teachers, devotees, gurus, Krishna, they are agents. Krishna is not agent. Krishna himself is a purifier. Others are agents of him. Others are agents of him. So what is that they purify? That will come to in the purport. We'll go through it. So This is one of the gift, the purification. Purification means, okay, maybe we have to discuss one point here. Purification means doing good for ourselves, and by doing so, doing good to others also. Shall I repeat again? Purification means doing good for ourselves. Like certain things will damage our nature. We should not behave like that. Right? Right? Like anger, for example. Anger damages us. Suppose if an uncontrolled anger, suppose if we challenge some superior, socially positioned or some kind of superior, if we challenge them, then they will suppress us just like anything. So then, is our anger bad for us or good for us then? It's bad for us. We don't know how other people will react for our anger. It may be, we may end up in a life-threatening situation also, like that. So now purification means doing good for ourselves, means eliminating such kind of bad elements within our heart. So that's a purification. Yeah. And doing good for others. Definitely, if others also become, reduce their anger and slowly eliminating, then that's also good for others, right? Because they don't harm any people if they are not angry. Angry people only can harm others. So like this, there are many ways that the material world needs purification. Means all living beings need purification like that. Just imagine if lust is controlled, how many women are protected? Just imagine that. How many crores of women are protected? If men are educated to control their lust, how many women are protected? It cannot match up. It's crores, crores. If we put all countries together, crores. So how much beneficial it is? That's the benefit that is talking about here. Because in the conversation between Prachinabharhi and Narada Muni, there are many things mentioned to control lust, to control anger, to control senses, other senses. And we hardly touch two bad qualities. And if we touch all bad qualities, just imagine the immense benefit that can bring to the entire, not only to human society, but even animal society also. It's immeasurable, immeasurable. That is why we should always be grateful to devotees. We should always associate with devotees. And we should always try to take association of them and hear from them humbly, and then start practicing these things in our lives. And another benefit is it purifies the heart of living entity and helps him attain his spiritual identity. Whoever describes this. So now we are hearing certain things, right? Now, if after hearing this, if we start after understanding, and then if we try to discuss with others, so that whoever discussing it, they will also get benefit. You know how? In many ways. While discussing, our conviction will be strengthened. That is why we should always discuss spiritual topics, but the caution is we should discuss only within the limits of our understanding. We should not tell or discuss beyond our understanding. This is a caution we have to exercise. But if we do that, we will get immense benefit, very, very immense benefit. I can see in 2005 or 2004, when I was made, certain in charge in this temple to take care of certain devotees, that's the beginning of my speaking of spiritual topics, almost 20 years ago. And I can see systematically how I got benefited by speaking. It's very important to tell these things to others, but within our limits. We should never say that if we don't know, we should say honestly, I don't know, I'll find out. With that honesty, Krishna likes that honesty, so then he gives more and more and more understandings. So that's a benefit. When we speak about these spiritual topics, then it certainly purifies our heart. Now, one who relays this transcendental narration will be liberated from all material bondage. This is also a wonderful gift. All, samasta bandhaha. Samasta bandhaha. It means not even. Bandha means that which causes us trouble. That's called bandha. Let someone say tied us, let us say by rope. And it causes us trouble, right? We cannot move freely. Yes or no? So, bandha. Any kind of bandha. Any kind. Sorry? I don't know how far it is scriptural because I never came across from any scripture. So, I don't know. Okay. Samasta bandha. Of course, here is the Srimad Bhagavatam is talking about the material kind of bandhas. The spiritual kind of relations are never troublesome. They never troublesome. They never. They're always pleasure-giving relations, spiritual relations. Okay? Here it's talking about material bandhas. Yeah. Material bandhas. And whoever relates this transcendental narration. So relating means what? Relating means we see when we hear certain things or certain ways of, let us say, same thing, controlling anger or controlling senses or certain things, when we hear them, we have to relate to them. It means we have to apply on ourselves. Usually, when we hear scriptural topics, generally, I'm saying, I'm not branding, everyone will do like that, but generally it happens like this. When we hear this thing, how to control, let us say, how to control anger, immediately we tend to apply on others. How to control sense, immediately we tend to apply on others. But that's not the practice. The practice is we have to relate them to ourselves first. Okay, so anger is a bad quality. Okay, I understood it. So now let me control it. This is the first application. This should be the application. When we do like that, then only the samasta bandhaha, we will be liberated from them, from the bondages. But if you apply on others by saying, okay, now I got scriptural knowledge, well, come on, now war will begin. Okay, he is liberated. No, sometimes he is angry, he's always angry, or he is not sense controlled because he is too much. So in this way, it becomes a misapplication. And guess misapplication, our bondages will increase. will increase. What is the bondage increase? As if we are so so much free from all the things, and then try to judge others. Then what happens? We will be controlled by these bad qualities. So relating means here applying on ourselves first. This is very, very important. For those people only, this verse is saying that they will be liberated and will no longer have to wander within this material world. This is also another wonderful gift. We don't have to wander, means move in this material world. Move in this material. Krishna says that Abrahma bhuvanar loka punaravartino Arjuna. Aprapya mam nivartante mrityu samsara vartmani. This is Bhagavad Gita verse. Krishna says that we all maybe already roamed, but roaming also. Abrahma bhuvanar loka, from the topmost planet of Brahmaloka to the lowest planet, we are moving one life to another life, and then another body and another body, and then we are trying to enjoy, and then we are suffering. So aprapyamam nivartante. So by moving like that without reaching Krishna, mrityu samsara vartmani, we are again entering into the death den, and again coming out at taking birth, and again entering death den, and again coming out, again entering. So this is what roaming in this material world. And this verse is saying that we don't have to move like that. In other words, we don't have to suffer. Of course, those who, attended some basic classes, they'll know how death is painful, how birth is painful. Birth also is painful. The very congested area we had to stay many, many months. Srimad Bhagavatam says it's how much painful it is. We will lose our consciousness. We will faint within the womb. We will faint multiple times. Almost all times. We will faint. And the moment we remember, we regain our consciousness, and again, it's so congested, so painful. And similarly, death also. So now let's get into the purport. As indicated in verse 79, Narada Muni advised King Prachina Barhi to take to devotional service rather than waste time performing ritualistic ceremonies and fruitive activities. So, what is wasting time? Wasting time is the time we spend on two things: ritualistic ceremonies and fruitive activities. So, what are the ritualistic ceremonies? Means we don't know the reason, but we do celebrate like a many festival kind of things or Vedic activities. We don't know the reasons, but we do them. Krishna very clearly says in Bhagavad Gita, if you don't know the intended result of an activity, and if we do that activity, we will not get the result. Although we complete the activity, we should know the intended result of an activity. Like some people do many havans, for example, or some people do certain Vedic rituals. If we don't know the intended result of those activities, it means we are not getting any advantage out of them. It's just waste of time. And similarly, fruitive activities. Fruitive activities means we expect certain result for ourselves, for our happiness. And we must have heard many, many times, we should not expect results. This is a very foundational teaching of Bhagavad Gita. We should not expect results. Why we should not expect results? Why? It's like this. Suppose we called a carpenter to make a wardrobe. And then we bought many materials and whatever the tools required, paints required, whatever, everything we bought. And then we asked the carpenter, can you please, make this the design? Can you make the wardrobe? And the carpenter does with his hard work. And then said that, okay, sir, it's completed. Now I am taking it to my home. And then the owner said, hey, wait. How this belongs to you? Can you explain how this belongs to you? Sir, I paid it, so it's me. It belongs to me. Oh, you made it, that's true, but I gave all the material. So whom it should belong to? No, sir, I made it, so it should belong to me, carpenter says. And then the owner said, no, I gave the ingredients, it should belong to me. Which one is right? Which one is right? Is the owner have given the ingredients, right? So similarly, who is the owner of all ingredients? The Supreme Lord. So Supreme Lord is the owner of all ingredients, not only physical ingredients, including our intelligence. In 15th chapter Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am giving the knowledge. Matta smriti jnanam apohanam. This is so important, this section, this verse, a section of this verse. It's so important. We have very wide application on this. So knowledge also is coming from Krishna. What is not coming from Krishna? This is very important to understand. Something which doesn't come from Krishna directly. That is our decision making, our choices. That never come from Krishna. The choices we made are, they belong to us only. It's not Krishna. Sometimes people do some activities by their choices, and when they get bad result, and then they immediately they start blaming God. God, why have you given this? Why have you given? It's a trouble for me. You're doing all these things. He didn't do anything. It's just our choice. For our choice, people start blaming God. This is unfair. This is not fair. This is not fair. So, yeah. Anyway, so knowledge. So everything belongs to Krishna. So that is why we should not expect results. Knowledge given by Krishna, ingredients are given by Krishna. And our physical strength also given by Krishna. Prakrute kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasaha. Ahankara itiyame bhinna prakriti rashtada. So Krishna is saying that clearly. Prakriti kriyamanani, the material nature is helping us. Like, the muscle strength, the bone strength, the blood, and everything is helping us, the souls. If they stop helping us, then what will happen? We cannot even lift our hand. So that's also, helped by Krishna. But when we do certain things, then immediately, it's because of me, everything is happening. So this is exactly saying, this is actually damages our consciousness, because that's not true. Something is untrue, it definitely damages us. Something is truth, it definitely makes us happy. Always remember. Something that is truth, which makes us happy always. Something that is untruth, which makes us unhappy always. Always. Okay. The vivid descriptions of the subtle and gross bodies in this chapter are most scientific. And because they are given by the great sage Narada, they are authoritative. So, the authoritative knowledge which comes from Narada Muni, because Narada Muni is an authoritative person in Parampara. Lord Brahma authorizes him, And Brahma authorized Vyasadeva, and Vyasadeva authorized Madhvacharya, and so on. So this authorization continues. So anything authorization only we should go for, because certain superstitious way people may say many things blindly. Okay, if you do this, you will get that, and we don't know the correlation. Why, if you do this, that will happen. So that's called blindness. If we don't know the correlation, and without understanding that if we follow blindly, then sorry, we won't get the intended results. Again, the same point, what Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita. We should know the intended result. We may have not reached the goal, but still we should know the intended goal of every activity. And what is the goal of devotional activity? Of course, ultimately to reach Supreme Lord. That's the goal, final goal. That also Krishna confirmed. Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Nivasa Surudam Sharanam Suhrut. Yeah, something like that. So Gati, I am the goal. I am the path, I am the goal. I am the maintainer. Krishna is saying everything about him. And I am observer. Krishna is saying he is observer. Bhadrashta Anumantacha. So this is what the Supreme God. That's our goal. Why it should be our goal? Because we will be happy. There's no other reason. There's no other reason to make it goal. We will be happy when we are with a supremely happy person. Is it not? If our parents are happy, definitely children will be happy. Is there any doubt in that? Obviously. And who else is a supreme happy person other than God? Because nothing go beyond his control, so he is always happy. Some things go beyond our control, so he will be unhappy. Or unhappy is something goes outside of our control. Suppose wife doesn't hear whatever husband says, then husband will be unhappy because it's going out of control. Or vice versa. Vice versa. Wife becomes unhappy if husband goes outside the control of her domain. So he'll unhappy. But nothing goes outside the domain of Krishna, outside the control of Krishna. Nothing can go. So Krishna is supremely happy person. Okay. Because of these narrations are full of glory of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they constitute the most effective process of purification of the mind. As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirmed, Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhavamahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadho Jivanam Anandambudhi Vardhanam. So, Anandambudhi Vardhanam. Ambudhi means ocean. So, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saying that this process of devotion is Ananda Ambudhi Vardhanam. Ambudhi means ocean. And which ocean? Ananda, ocean of Ananda. Vardhanam. Vardhanam means nourishes. That which nourishes Vardhana. Like Govardhana. Why is it called Govardhana? Because it nourishes cows. That's why it's called Govardhana. So there are many. So Govardhana, Bhaktivardhana, Anandavardhana, like that. Vardhan. So this devotional process purifies us. Cheto Darpana Marjana. Marjana means cleaning. Darpana means mirror. So the mirror of our heart, when we practice devotional services, particularly chanting, here it's referring chanting, it cleans our heart. But how it cleans our heart? The plaque is very thick on the, sometimes when you do cooking, regularly if you cook on same vessel, it forms a plaque, right? A thick layer. And to remove that is very, very difficult. You have to scrap it, and scrap it again and again and again, scrap it and again, scrap it. Right? Just one cleaning or two cleanings is not sufficient. It requires multiple cleanings. Everyday cleaning. Every day you have to scrap a little bit, a micro layer or something like that. And then the vessel becomes very clear. Practically it happened. One time, Srila Prabhupada gave one vessel which was burnt at the bottom. Anyway, that's a nice episode that. Okay. So, so similarly, the plague of impurities are there in our heart. Now, when we regularly chant, then day by day, that plague gets removed. That impurities gets removed. So then what happens? Ananda. When undesired things are going away, what is left? Happiness. Are we ready for happiness? Then we have to chant regularly. We have to chant regularly. Apart from chanting, we have to do other devotional aspects also. The more we talk of Krishna, think of Krishna, this is another benefit. The more we think of Krishna, the more we talk about Krishna, the more we preach for Krishna. This is important. We preach for Krishna. This is important, not for anything else. Some people think like, okay, if I preach very nicely, if I crack jokes many, and if I do, many attractive ways, then people will come. Sorry, the essence is lost in that. We should preach for Krishna. We should remember that. In other words, the attraction towards Krishna within the minds of the audience should be invoked. That's what preaching for Krishna. The more we become purified. So we do all these things more and more, then the more we become purified. It's a very important, I'm repeating. The more we talk of Krishna, the more we think of Krishna, the more we preach for Krishna, the more we become purified. This means we no longer have to accept a hallucinatory, gross and subtle body, but instead attain our spiritual identity. So we all have spiritual identity in relation to Krishna. Right now, what are our identities? Like, I am an engineer. That's my identity. If I go anywhere, then I have to say that, okay, I worked in so-and-so company, I'm an engineer, like that, right? But that identity is only till my death. What will be my identity after my death? Again, I have to, in next life, fortunately, if I take human life, then I have to go again to school and again create my own identity. And maybe different identity in that life, in next life. So these identities are all temporary, but our original identity, what is Jivera Swarupahai? Krishnera Nityada. That's our real identity. The mode of service, that's our real identity. If we do anything other than service, even materially, if we do anything other than service, even materially, we cannot be happy. We cannot be happy. Then what to speak of? If we realize that we are really eternal servants of Krishna, how much happiness? Oceanic. One who tries to understand this instructive spiritual knowledge is delivered from this ocean of nescience. There are many oceans are coming this class. Ocean of happiness, ocean of problems, ocean of nescience. Nescience means ignorance. Ocean of ignorance. So we will be delivered from it. Means we will be pulled out of it, out of ignorance. The word Paramestam is very significant in this connection. Paramestam is also called Brahmaloka. It is a planet on which Lord Brahma lives. The inhabitants of Brahmaloka always discuss such narrations so that after the annihilation of the material world, they can be directly transferred to the spiritual world. One who is transferred to the spiritual world doesn't have to go up and down within this material world. Sometimes spiritual activities are also called parameshyam. So this is a proof that within the material world, from any place, we have a parallel access directly to the spiritual world. We don't have to go to any other planets. From any planet within the creation, there may be hellish planets, there may be heavenly planets, or maybe topmost planets like Brahmaloka where Lord Brahma stays. From any planet, we can go back to spiritual world. How wonderful it is, right? That's beauty of creation. Krishna always keeps a way in any planet to get out of this material, from this entire material world, not only from that planet, from the entire material world. Not only that planet, not only that universe, not only all universes. From all universes, So that's the beauty of Krishna's creation and the advantage. That is why we have to take advantage of devotees. And Srila Prabhupada has created such wonderful atmosphere by constructing many, many temples. And his followers also are moving in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada, constructing many, many temples to give us all these facilities to become spiritual and ultimately to go back to spiritual world. Let's take advantage of it. Hare Krishna. Any comments or questions? Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavatranam. Actions like option, which way to take, that is in human hand.
Yes.
All other is in Hare Krishna's hand. Even how to surrender that to Krishna.
How to?
Surrender that activities also to Krishna. Totally.
That activity also is because of Krishna.
No, no, no.
Huh?
You said no, Prabhuji. Like choices.
Okay, choices are that we make the choices and God has no relation with it. Yes, that is
How to
true.
surrender the choices also to Krishna. How to involve Krishna in that.
But surrender doesn't mean that we have to give up our choices. No. Surrender doesn't mean that. Surrender means aligning kamancha dase natu kama kamyaya. This is Amrish Maharaj is saying. It means aligning our desires along the desires of the Supreme Lord. That's called surrenderance. Just like how we will be allowed to work in an organization when their business goals and our working activities are aligned, then only we will be allowed to work in an organization, right? So that's called surrender. In short, if you want to understand. Because we surrender, right? We must appear in workplace. That's it. There's no choice. But within that, we make choices how to do work, right? We don't give up choices altogether. Yes or no? That's surrenderance.
Hare
So
Krishna.
aligning our desires in line with the Supreme Lord's desires. That's called surrenderance. Hare Krishna. Any other? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.